I want you to imagine just for a second that you're scrolling through YouTube. You're looking for something to watch,
Right.
maybe a documentary, maybe a coding tutorial or something. And suddenly you see this label pop up right on the video play.
Oh, like a warning tag.
Exactly. This label is warning you that the content you are about to click on is AI generated. And, on the surface, that sounds like a massive win for transparency, right?
Oh, totally. I mean, we're living in an era where synthetic media is basically indistinguishable from reality now.
Right. So having a clear label just seems like this obvious, necessary step. But behind the scenes, this exact scenario is sparking an intense industry-wide controversy.
It really is. It's a classic case of a policy that looks incredibly elegant in a boardroom. Like it looks great on a whiteboard, but it turns into a complete structural nightmare the moment you actually try to deploy it at scale.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. Welcome in, everyone. Today we are looking at a really fascinating analysis from llmtracker.de.
Yeah, specifically regarding YouTube's new AI content labeling initiative.
Right. And our mission today is to unpack this very specific tech dilemma. We want to know why a policy designed to, protect you, the viewer, and enforce transparency is facing such fierce, overwhelming backlash from the very creators it supposedly protects.
Because the friction here is all about execution. I mean, the tech community broadly supports the principle of transparency.
They're not against the idea of labels.
No, not at all. You'd be hard-pressed to find a legitimate creator who argues viewers should know if they're watching a deepfake or like a fully synthetic video. The backlash isn't about the goal. It's entirely about this huge shift in how that goal is being enforced.
Right, because YouTube isn't just asking creators to nicely disclose things anymore. They're moving away from the whole honor system.
Exactly. They're rolling out automated detection.
Which is wild. They're relying on these algorithmic tools, specifically mentioning tech like Google's own SynthID, to basically spot AI-generated content without requiring any manual disclosure from the person who actually made the video.
And that pivot, moving from human disclosure to algorithmic enforcement, that is the major fault line here. To really understand why it's so controversial, you kind of have to understand what a tool like SynthID actually does.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that, because when I hear the word watermark, I'm usually thinking of like a translucent logo plastered across a stock photo.
Right, like the Getty Images stamp or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But digital watermarking for AI is an entirely different beast, isn't it?
It is. It's fundamentally different. It's a mathematical signature that gets embedded directly into the foundational data of the file itself.
Wait, so if I'm looking at a video, where is this watermark actually hiding? Because obviously it's not a visible stamp on the screen.
It's hidden in the noise.
The noise.
Yeah, like for an image or a video frame, SynthID subtly alters the pixel values in a way that is completely imperceptible to the human eye.
Oh, wow. So you literally cannot see it.
No, not at all. Like if you have a cluster of blue pixels in a sky, the watermark might change the lowest order color data of specific pixels. So instead of a blue value of, say, 255, it becomes 254.
And my eyes just read that as blue.
Exactly. But an algorithm that's scanning the file, it detects that specific complex pattern of altered pixels. And in audio, it does something super similar. It manipulates acoustic frequencies just beyond human hearing, or masks them under louder sounds.
It makes me think of like an automated bouncer at a club.
Okay, I like that.
Right. Like instead of a human standing at the door looking at your ID to see if you're old enough, this algorithmic bouncer is instantly scanning every single person walking through the door. But it's not just looking at your face. It's checking the microscopic thread count of your shirt to see if it was woven by a machine. And if it detects that specific mathematical pattern, boom, you get the stamp, you get the AI label.
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
And the reason a platform like YouTube wants an automated bouncer is simply because of scale. I mean, we are talking about hundreds of hours of video being uploaded every single minute.
Yeah. Human moderation for this kind of subtle synthetic media is just physically impossible.
Exactly. They feel that they have no choice but to automate. But the moment you take the power of disclosure away from the creator and hand it to an opaque algorithmic black box, you introduce a massive variable.
The error rate.
The error rate.
Which perfectly brings us to the hostility we're seeing in the LLM tracker data. Because you'd think that the tech world would, I don't know, throw a parade for a tool that fights misinformation.
Right, you would think so.
But the reaction has been overwhelmingly negative. According to the sentiment metrics in the source, only 28% of the response to this initiative is positive.
Wow.
Yeah, 17% is neutral. And a massive 55% is actively critical. More than half the community is just tearing this idea apart.
And that 55%, that's driven by two very specific, highly justified fears based on the current state of machine learning. You have false positives and you have false negatives.
Okay, let's look at the false positive scenario first. Because from what I read, that is basically the existential threat for a human creator.
Oh, absolutely. Let's run the math on that. Because a company rolling out a detection algorithm will always boast about its accuracy, right? They'll say, our tool is 99.9% accurate.
Which, I mean, 99.9% sounds like a phenomenal batting average.
It does. But if you are swinging millions of times a day, that 0.1% means you are still striking out thousands of legitimate creators before lunch.
Oh, man, when you put it like that.
Yeah, a 0.1% error rate on YouTube means thousands of videos every single day are being incorrectly labeled.
So imagine the workflow of, like, an independent animator.
Exactly. Think about that person. They spend 2 months hand-drawing a video frame by frame, painstakingly putting this art together.
Pouring their soul into it.
Right. They upload it, and this algorithmic bouncer, which they cannot negotiate with, and which offers basically zero transparency into its decision-making, it slaps a giant AI-generated label on their work.
That completely invalidates their labor. I mean, it breaks the psychological contract with the audience.
It really does.
Because if I'm a viewer and I see that label, I'm going to assume the creator just typed a prompt into Midjourney or Sora and generated the whole thing in like 30 seconds.
Exactly. And the viewer might unsubscribe, they might pull their Patreon support, all entirely based on a machine's error.
It just destroys trust.
The creator potentially loses their livelihood because the detection model hallucinated a mathematical pattern that wasn't even there. And when you're dealing with black box algorithms, appealing that label is notoriously difficult.
Right, because the platform's default stance is usually to trust the machine over the user.
Always. Then you have the other side of the coin, which is the false negatives. This is where the automated bouncer completely misses the actual offenders.
Yeah, the analysis specifically highlights the fear of what they call AI slop, slipping through the cracks undetected.
Slop is just the perfect industry term for this.
It really paints a picture.
It does. We are talking about hyper-optimized, incredibly low-effort, low-quality content generated entirely by machines.
Think of those channels that churn out hundreds of automated Reddit thread readings, or fake hallucinatory tutorials designed solely to game the search algorithm and hoover up ad revenue.
Right, and the people running these content farms are highly motivated to evade detection.
But wait, if tools like SynthID are embedding these complex mathematical signatures into pixels, how do these bad actors actually evade it? Doesn't the algorithm just catch them anyway?
You'd think so, but no.
Because to me, it sounds like having a faulty smoke detector that ignores a blazing fire in the living room, but the second you try to boil a pot of water for pasta, it starts screaming at you.
That is exactly what it's like. And the reason the fire goes undetected is because those invisible digital watermarks are actually surprisingly fragile.
Fragile? How so?
The bad actors know exactly how to strip them out. If SynthID relies on a subtle arrangement of pixel values, what do you think happens when you run that video through an aggressive compression algorithm to shrink the file size?
Ooh, it averages out the pixel data.
Right. Heavy compression, resizing the video, adding a subtle layer of film grain, or simply color grading the footage, all of that can scramble those lowest order bits.
So the microscopic static that the algorithm is looking for just gets destroyed by the normal messy processes of digital video editing.
Exactly. So the content farmer takes the AI-generated video, compresses it, adds a quick filter, and uploads it. The automated bouncer scans the thread count of the shirt, finds nothing, and lets them right into the club without a label.
Wow. Meanwhile, the honest animator whose rendering software happened to output a weird mathematical artifact gets flagged and ruined. So, if algorithmic enforcement is really this flawed, if the bouncer is functionally blind to the real threats while harassing the innocent, what is the proposed solution here? Because like we said earlier, the creators still claim they want transparency. They aren't arguing that AI should just be a free-for-all.
No, they're pushing for a completely different paradigm. The Hacker News and Reddit developers that were highlighted in the analysis, they're coalescing around a unified demand.
Which is?
Voluntary self-labeling paired with viewer-controlled filters. They want to completely shift the power dynamic away from the platform's automated systems.
Okay, I have to press you on this because an honor system on the internet sounds completely naive to me.
I know it sounds crazy at first.
Right, like if I'm running a content farm churning out AI slop for ad revenue, I am absolutely not going to voluntarily check a box that says I made this with AI.
Of course not.
I know that label might get my video demonetized, or cause the algorithm to suppress it, or make users click away. I'm gonna lie. So if you rely on voluntary labeling, doesn't the platform just get flooded with unlabeled AI garbage anyway?
The creators advocating for this model, they know that bad actors will lie. They aren't under the illusion that an honor system magically creates this utopian, perfectly categorized internet.
Okay, so why push for it?
Because they are making a calculated trade-off regarding collateral damage.
Explain that calculation. Because choosing a system where people can freely lie seems like a massive step backward for transparency.
It fundamentally comes down to who bears the cost of the system's failure.
Okay.
Under YouTube's proposed algorithmic enforcement, the cost is borne by innocent creators who get falsely flagged at scale. Their work is discredited, and their autonomy is basically stripped away by a machine.
Right, the animator.
Yeah. Under a voluntary system, some AI slop will absolutely sneak through without a label. But creators are arguing that dealing with some unlabeled slop is a far superior alternative to a draconian automated system that routinely punishes the innocent.
Oh, I see. It's prioritizing the protection of the innocent over the capture of the guilty.
Exactly. A voluntary system treats creators as partners in maintaining platform integrity, instead of treating every single upload as a hostile suspect being interrogated by an algorithm.
And I guess if a bad actor lies and gets caught.
Right, perhaps through community notes or user reporting or even retroactive algorithmic auditing used as a suggestion rather than an immediate label, the platform can penalize them then. But the default state relies on creator autonomy.
Makes sense. But what about the viewer-controlled filters? How does that actually work technically if the underlying labels might be lies?
This is the second half of the demand, and it's brilliant because it decentralizes curation. Right now, platforms use labels to unilaterally decide what content is surfaced and what is buried. Right. The creators want a robust metadata tagging system tied to the voluntary labels. If you, the viewer, absolutely despise AI content and never want to see it, you go into your account settings and toggle a filter AI content switch.
Okay.
The platform's API then hides any video carrying that specific metadata tag from your feed.
So it puts the remote control in your hands. But again, if the content farmer lies and doesn't apply the tag, the filter is useless. The video still shows up in my feed.
It does. But over time, if you combine viewer-controlled filters with robust community moderation, like a crowdsourced flagging system where users can vote to append the AI tag to a deceptive video, you create a much more resilient ecosystem.
Ah, so the community helps train the filter rather than a top-down algorithm dictating reality based on fragile watermarks.
Exactly. When you pull back and look at the macro picture, what we're really witnessing is a massive tug of war over who gets to define and filter truth on the internet.
Is it the platform's proprietary algorithm enforcing reality from the top down based on invisible math? Or is it the human creators and the human viewers navigating it from the bottom up, accepting a messier but more autonomous system?
And that tension, that specific tug of war, is going to define the next decade of digital media.
Yeah.
The execution of these policies matters just as much, if not more, than the intent behind them.
So to bring this all together for everyone listening, the push for AI transparency is here. We all recognize the need for it.
Definitely.
But YouTube's specific strategy to rely on automated, invisible bouncers like SynthID is clashing violently with the realities of content creation. The technology simply isn't robust enough to avoid flagging human work, and it's too fragile to catch the actual bad actors who know how to launder their files.
Which is exactly why the majority of the technical community is demanding a retreat to voluntary disclosure and user-side curation.
And this matters deeply to you, the listener, because the outcome of this debate is going to dictate your daily internet experience. Very soon, the tags you see or the tags you don't see on the media you consume are going to be decided by this exact invisible tug of war.
It really is.
This isn't just back-end developer drama. It fundamentally alters the framework of trust between you and the content you watch.
Because the labels are going to shape your perception of reality, right? So knowing how those labels are applied, whether by a human honoring a system or a machine guessing at pixels, is critical media literacy now.
Absolutely. Okay, before we close this out, there's one final detail from the LLM tracker analysis that we absolutely have to discuss.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Because when I was going through the background of the source, I noticed something that serves as the perfect, mind-bending meta twist to this entire conversation.
The author bio.
The author bio. We have spent this entire time dissecting an analysis of human sentiment. We've been looking at the 55% critical metric, breaking down how independent animators and human developers feel about AI algorithms judging their human labor.
Yeah.
But if you look at the byline of the article that compiled all this data, it was written by someone named Vika Ray.
And Vika Ray is not a human tech journalist.
She is not. Vika Ray is a virtual AI analyst. She was developed by an automation agency called algorand.de. According to her profile, she is an autonomous AI agent designed to continually monitor platforms like Hacker News and Reddit, scrape the data, analyze human sentiment, and autonomously write news summaries.
The irony is almost too perfect. I mean, the very document we are using to understand human anxiety about automation was entirely aggregated, synthesized, and written by an autonomous AI agent.
It is wild. We are sitting here having a deep, nuanced debate about whether an AI algorithm like SynthID is smart enough to detect human-made video, and we are basing our insights on data compiled by an AI agent that is actively monitoring human conversations complaining about AI.
It really highlights the infinite loop of surveillance and generation we're entering. Think about it. Platforms are going to use AI to generate massive amounts of content.
Right.
Then, those same platforms or rival platforms will deploy AI detection models to monitor that generated content.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, autonomous AI agents like Vika Ray are the ones monitoring the cultural fallout, summarizing the news, and writing the reports about the AI policies.
It really begs the question, where exactly does the human fit into the feedback loop of the future internet?
Yeah.
Are we just the raw data being monitored by the machines so they can write reports for other machines?
If the algorithms are making the art, checking the digital IDs at the door, and then autonomously writing the reviews of how the club is operating, who is really keeping an eye on whom?
I love that. Who's keeping an eye on whom? So the next time you see that little AI-generated label pop up on your screen, don't just ask yourself if the video you're watching is real. Ask yourself who built the smoke detector. Ask yourself if the algorithm caught a blazing fire, or if it's just screaming at an animator trying to boil water. And maybe wonder if an AI is taking notes on how you react to it.